What's going on, everybody? Wax Pack Poetic, your boy Lou here. It is Sunday night. I'm hanging out, watching an NBA All-Star game, checking out stuff on YouTube. Really, honestly, waiting for she blinded me with refractors to go live tonight. I think that's going off in about an hour. But anyway, forgot I didn't have work tomorrow, so I'm hanging out, drinking my tea, and watching some videos. So I've been meaning to do some responses to videos. So I'm going to do some tonight, probably chop it up in a couple videos, but I'm going to start here with, so this one is for Rick, Vintage Oddball Cards. First of all, congratulations on 300 subscribers. You deserve it. You have a great collection, and I enjoy your videos, and it's a very good vibe. You know, very friendly, inviting. I really enjoy watching your videos. So he showed off a couple of off-centered cards that he has. 54 Banks rookie and a 54 Aaron rookie. Both look phenomenal. But they're, really, really off-center. So he wanted to know what it would take, show off a couple of our off-centered cards and what it would take to, for us to purchase off-centered cards, or do we have any in our collection? How do we feel about them? Things like that. So I'm going to start. I know if you've watched my videos, I've mentioned more times than I can count that I, collected as a kid, 80s, 90s, stopped for a while, came back. When I came back, I decided that, I wanted to do a few things. Mostly, I wanted to really buy all the cards that I dreamed about as a kid, and most of those were were vintage cards. The guys that I heard my dad talk about. So I've done that, and when I started doing that, I don't buy very high grade cards. I buy lower grade cards, sometimes even lower than collector's grade, and it started as a way to just save money because I am a collector on a budget. But it really almost turned into, like, I don't want to say a game, but almost like a scavenger hunt. Like I really, really try to find lower grade cards that look really, really good, and I get a good price on them, and it adds a little challenge, to the collection. So I decided to do that. One thing I try to stay away from is off-centered cards. I can't stand miscuts and off-center cards. They drive me insane. I rather have a card that is centered and in rough shape, and I mean even like worn edges, worn corners, even with creases in it, than have an off-centered card. Now, to me, I think for vintage cards, especially, and this isn't just because, this is what I can afford, but vintage cards, especially, even when they're graded, the wear, it's weird because I think it adds charm. A card from the 50s, to me, should have, some wear on it. Like, and maybe this sounds dumb, but it should have some wear on it. It tells a story. I want to look at that card and think about, like, man, the kid that got this, like, he put it in his bike spokes, he carried it around in his pocket with him. Was this his favorite player? Like, yes, monetarily speaking, it's nice to have, everybody would love to have a Gem Mint 10 52 Mantle. But, there's something about, like, it's just like, all right, well, did that, like, when I think about it, I'm like, did that kid even have fun growing up? Did he just, I don't know if you ever saw 40-Year-Old Virgin. I think about Steve Carell's character had all his action figures in the box, but then, like, he makes a comment about, like, those were all the action figures he had when he was like 10, and he's, how tough it is for a 10-year-old not to take something out of the box? I don't know, but that's what I think about. So I feel like the wear kind of add some charm. And I'm going to give you a good example. One of the cards, when I got back into, I grew up hearing, even though I'm a Mets fan, I grew up in a family full of Yankee fans, and I grew up hearing story after story after story from my dad about Mickey Mantle. So Mickey Mantle became a almost like a larger than life figure to me, like not even a real person. So I wanted to buy some, as I got older, when I started collecting, I was going to pick up some Mantle cards. Now, obviously, everything Mickey Mantle can go through the roof. So one of the cards I really looked for was a 1965 Topps Mickey Mantle. Now, 1965 Topps happens to be my favorite set design of all time. And so that was a card I really, really wanted. And I went to National focused on getting that card and a Johnny Bench rookie card. Now, I did end up finding a bench like on the last day, but I didn't find a 65 Mantle that I liked. But a few weeks later, I found one for a really, really good price on eBay. So here it is. Now, this is a 2, okay? But it's like perfectly centered, right? Is it 2? Yeah, it's a 2. And mostly because there is a crease there that also is a little bit of a tear with some paper loss. So you can really notice it when I kind of hold it like that. And you can see it on the back here as well. But literally, I mean, looking at this, the corners are a little worn. But if not for that, I mean, this is probably a 4 or a 5. But I could have bought cards a little less expensive, maybe a little bit better grade that were off-centered, but I like having the card centered. And I just think even with that right there, just think that's a great looking card, and I was really happy with it. Now, would I buy an off-centered card? I would, and I have. I just got a notification. Andy's live now. All right, well, I'm going to be ending this soon. Like, if this card was a 1 and it was miscut and it was $30, somebody wanted to give it to me for like $30, of course. There's always a price that's going to make me say, I got to take that card. But if I can, I would prefer to buy, if there were 2 of these and one was centered and a little rougher and one was not centered, I would buy the one that was centered. However, I do have a couple that I want to show you. And so this is another 65 card. This is and here's a good example of this, because I bought this card for $5, and I'm sure even in this condition, it's in rough shape, but it's worth more than that. 65 Roberto Clemente. And this was my first Roberto Clemente card. It's ridiculously off-centered. And it's got wear and stuff too, but it was in a $5 bin. Wasn't at National. It was at another card show locally. Not locally. In Pennsylvania. It was about an hour away. But so for $5, I was like, well, that's a Roberto Clemente card. I'm buying that. Next 3 I'm going to show you are all from the same set. And here's another one that I got a very good deal on, and I can't remember what I paid for it, but these cards, 2 of them are the same card, are part of the 300 great cards of the 20th century by Mike Payne set I'm trying to complete. And this one in particular was a card I always wanted as a kid, and that's an Ozzie Smith rookie. Now, it is off-centered. It's a 6. I got a really good deal on it. I don't want to tell you guys the wrong price. I want to say it was $30. I don't know. Great PSA as a 6. And it looks in pretty decent shape. If it wasn't so, you could really tell, like, it's miscut all over. It's even kind of crooked. Probably would have got a higher grade, but that was a good price. These 2 are the same card, and one is a 6, PSA 6, and one is a PSA 8 MC. So I got these two 79 Palmolitor tops, also off of for the Mike Payne's 300 great cards of the 20th century set. Now this one is the 6. So if you're not familiar with the qualifiers, this one is an 8 MC, which means miscut. The qualifiers will drop it 2 grades in the PSA set registry. So basically they're 2 6s. But the reason I have 2 of them is because I was looking for the card and I found this, and it was packaged as 2 cards and it was $6. Buy it now on eBay. And $6, it was enough for me to say, I'm going to do it. And I used the 6 in my set registry because it's a little bit better centered, not by much. See, here's the 6. And here is the, oh, Alexa's telling me somebody is at the front door. And here is the 8 that's miscut. So you see, they're really laying like the same way, the same edge. Sorry about that. People are walking in my house right now. So there's that. Last one I'm going to show you, off-centered card, is this 1976 Topps traded Rusty Staub. Now, a couple things. I love traded cards. In fact, I'm going to probably be doing a couple videos about traded sets. Loved traded cards as a kid. The traded sets were my favorite releases of the year, and it didn't even really have so much to do with rookies. It was just like, I loved having the, first card when a guy changed teams, like I remember in particular, one of my favorite cards, I should have pulled it out, it's just one of the nicest looking cards ever, is the 89 Topps traded Ricky Henderson card, and the 89 Topps traded Nolan Ryan card. I remember I could not wait, even though Ken Griffey Jr. is going to be in that set, could not wait to see those 2 cards. So I grew up, this is from my childhood collection, so it's not in the best shape. I grew up, obviously a Mets fan. I collected Rusty Staub cards. He was ending his career just as I was really getting into baseball, and he dated his cards back all the way to the 60s. I thought that was really cool, and because in 85, 86, as as like a 9-year-old, I was like, man, the 60s, that's so freaking far away. So I started collecting Rusty Staub cards, and even his old cards from the 60s could be had relatively cheap. Now, in the days before the internet, this card was impossible for me to find. There was none in like local card shops. I went from show to show to show, and I was a kid. I think I was like, I want to say 10 or 11 when I finally found it, and I didn't care at all that it was severely off-centered. I bought it. I think it cost me $2 at the time, which is probably a ripoff. At today's money, it's probably like 15 bucks, but whatever. So there it is. So that was another thing. Like, I obviously would buy a card if I had trouble finding it and it was off-centered. I would buy it if it was off-centered and it was the only one that I could find. Now, in the days of eBay and the internet, it's really easy to find what you're looking for. But that's it. That's my take on the off-centered cards. Again, Rick, congratulations on 300 subs, and hope you enjoy this video, guys. I'm going to do a couple more of these tonight. All right, peace.